Caspian Pipeline Consortium is the largest international project with participating Russia, Kazakhstan, and leading international producing companies incorporating pipeline infrastructure with a 1,500 kilometers length. The consortium operations compliance with international standards, including safety, is the key expectation to company staff and contractors. Life-saving rules were developed as a result, and every company employee is expected to follow these. I am your protector helmet, and I continuously take care of your safety. And now, shall I tell you about CPC Life Saving Rules, their main provisions, and scope of application? Attention, we will learn each of 12 rules in more detail later. Rule number 1. Follow General Site Access Control Rules. Alcohol and drugs policy. This may look like a headline, but it's actually simple. It is prohibited to enter a CPC site while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Next on the agenda is the use of a minimum set of PPE, and of course, you certainly know about that. No smoking rule. Do you smoke? It's clear, smoking is prohibited, but the good news is smoking is allowed in special designated areas. Isn't that easy to remember? This could really happen if you neglect Rule 1. Only one cigarette thrown away in an improper area, alcohol abuse, and/or other violations could result in your own injury, risk the lives of others, and cause equipment damage. Take care of yourself and always comply with regulations. What else is on the agenda? Pictures and video shooting and mobile phones. You will have to leave them here. Rules are rules. Wait, please do not throw that away. Video and photo shooting is allowed, but only when provided with a relevant permit and additional safety precautions, such as the use of explosion-proof devices or atmospheric air and gas analysis before use. These rules will save your life. And do not forget about the briefing. The staff is not allowed to enter the site until they have passed an orientation. It's like drinking coffee in the morning. Please bring it to my office. Rule number 2. Hazardous permit to work. Permits to work and work authorizations are critical for safety assurance. It is not allowed to start the work without them. Is that clear? Prior to the start of work, it is necessary to get a permit to work with details of the scope of work and equipment to be used, assess the risks, define controls, and complete preparation activities. If the work conditions change, the work shall be suspended and the risks reassessed. Working conditions in the rain are different from those in good weather. Therefore, if the working conditions change, it is critical to suspend the work timely. Otherwise, they could have a regrettable result, such as staff injuries or equipment damage. Additional permits are required for some hazardous works. Rule number 3. Lockout, tagout. Energy is great, but when repairing and maintaining energized equipment, electrical, thermal, hydraulical, mechanical, etc., some conditions shall be followed. Are you ready? All power sources shall be identified, isolated, pressure released, and electrical power de-energized. Then the power sources shall be locked out and tagged out. And of course, checked for proper isolation. It is prohibited to remove locks and tags and energize the equipment until all equipment work is completed. It makes sense, and it's like turning on the water before you finish repairing a valve in the kitchen plumbing. Do you agree? Only one tag can negatively affect the lives of 2 people and the company as well. Be vigilant and check locks and power sources to validate their proper isolation before the work begins. Please follow the rules. Rule number 4. Road traffic safety. Drivers must be free of alcohol, drugs, or any other substances that could impact their ability to safely drive a motor vehicle. In addition, the drivers shall pass a pre-trip medical checkup and not drive when ill, tired, stressed, or distracted. Can I take a mobile phone? Yes, in this case, you can. But the driver must not use mobile phones or other devices while driving a vehicle, not even with the use of a hands-free device. When driving a vehicle, the driver and all passengers must fasten their seatbelts. Vehicle speed shall never exceed the posted speed limits, but should also compensate for traffic conditions and road and weather conditions. The vehicle and special machinery shall be in proper technical condition. Pre-trip inspections are a must. The next item is easy as well. When the special machinery is moving, the working gears, lifting or retractable parts of lifting cranes, excavators, dump trucks shall be fully retracted and placed in safe transport mode prior to driving. No deviation is allowed. In addition, for moving within the area of CPC industrial facilities, the vehicle shall be equipped with a spark arrestor and prescribed limitations shall be followed. Let's secure the cargo. Are you careful? That's fine. We'll show you what it means to be careful. The rule is simple. The transported cargo shall be properly secured and not exceed the vehicle's capacity. One single error could put you and your colleagues' lives at risk. Always check cargo is securely fastened. Do you believe it will save time? Even back to school, you were told that the road traffic rules must be respected. Fastening your seatbelt and crossing the street at designated crosswalks could potentially save your life. And please remember, the road is highly hazardous. Yes, just fancy. Traffic rules are uniform with no exception. Rule number 5. Work at height. Yes, it's correct. In this case, you need to use a safety harness. Make sure your harness is permanently secured and choose a proper anchor point. In addition, the work shall be performed only during favorable weather conditions. I believe everyone understands why we need the harness, including the one for tooling. It is necessary to speak about weather. It is a bad decision to work at height during a thunderstorm, hurricane, or high winds. If you use a ladder, you must be careful. It shall be secured. Before using a ladder, stepladder, platforms, and scaffoldings, check and make sure they are in a proper condition and stable. Did an authorized person make a timely inspection? Otherwise, you see what could happen. You are a quick learner. A little thing to remember: the work shall be done by experienced and qualified specialists with no health issues. One more thing: fall protection systems and equipment must be checked prior to the start of work. And our old friend, permit to work, together with work execution plan and evacuation plan. It all must be in place. Rule number 6. Gas hazardous and confined space operations. It is critical to assess risks and conduct analysis of atmospheric air prior to the start of work. And it could have been prevented if an atmospheric gas analysis was conducted and a designated watch was observing the work as well. Everything matters in our job. Follow prescribed rules. Have you checked? Great! Has the fencing been placed? It is critical not to forget a permit to work, though I believe you remember that even better than me by now. A designated entry watch with an approved communication device must be at the entry to confined space. The rescue equipment must be in proper condition. It is critical to make all required isolations and make sure the locks are in place. Do you remember that rule? Rule number 7. Hot work. Remember, playing with fire is dangerous. It is a must to conduct a risk assessment, approve a permit to work, and fence the impacted area. It is mandatory to have primary fire extinguishing equipment. And this is what could happen if the rules are ignored. That is why it is necessary to place the bottles with flammable gases at a safe distance, though it might not seem that critical. Clear the hot work area of flammables and combustibles. Do not forget to fence the work area. Please value your own life and the lives of others. And do not forget about proper PPE. Rule number 8. Electrical equipment operation. Electrical power is not a joke. Therefore, maintenance or work on energized electrical equipment must be minimized, and if possible, the equipment shall be de-energized. The work area must be fenced. Do you agree? One might think, why do I need a glove to quickly fix something? I could easily do without it. No, you could not. You need to use proper PPE to protect you from the risk of electrocution when working on or near electrical installations, and it is required to avoid contact with a bare conductor. It's a very simple rule, but it could save your life. Well, I've mentioned electrical safety. What else? Me again? I'll call you back later. I remember permit to work, authorization, and risk assessment. As usual, do not forget about that. Rule number 9. Excavation. One must know that all buried utilities shall be identified and marked. Safe distances must be complied with, and actions to prevent the collapse of trenches and excavation walls must be taken. Also, it is necessary to fence the work area. That's an example of all parties being inattentive. Safety signs and fencing are not installed. One should not forget about conducting a mandatory risk assessment. Also, the removed soil and excavation machinery shall be kept at least 1 meter away from the edge of the excavated trench. This work is complicated, and attention is our second name. What is our first name? Remember the permit to work? We need one here, as well as an authorization for trenching and working inside an excavation pit. Rule number 10. Lifting operation. It is necessary to assess risks and ensure a safe distance to power lines is always maintained. The weight of the cargo shall not exceed the capacity of the lifting equipment. The cargo weight should not exceed the maximum capacity of the working load. The outriggers shall be properly placed, otherwise it could lead to a situation where injuries may occur and/or the equipment could be damaged. Please remember, it is not allowed to overload the crane. Are you thinking about it? Yes, it is worth thinking about. And let's move on. All equipment shall be fail-proof, certified, and accepted for work, and the personnel involved shall have relevant qualifications. And, of course, the work area shall be fenced and marked with signs. Rule 11. Follow process safety rules. Our pipeline is maintained by the staff of different professions and disciplines. To ensure fail-proof and safe operation, each worker shall meet process safety requirements at their sites. To do so, please carefully and thoroughly study regulations. To ensure process safety, support reliability of different safety, protection, interlock, and alarm systems. Follow regulations when switching off protection systems. Conduct timely and quality maintenance and repair of equipment. Pay attention to process changes and follow management of change procedure. Ensure control of process and take relevant action. Reveal emergencies and advise management thereof. Do not forget, the main hazards are invisible, but it does not mean they do not exist. Even minor violations of process safety could result in disastrous consequences. The quality of your life and that of your co-workers depends on compliance with this rule. Rule number 12. Marine operations. It is critical that you use only certified and verified lifting, rigging, diving, and personnel transportation equipment. Use personal flotation devices while working near the shoreline, at offshore vessels, and offshore trunk pipeline facilities where required. Such a minor thing as a life vest could save your life. 2 minutes spent putting on the vest could preserve years of your life. Do not neglect this simple rule and remind your colleagues. And do not forget the risk assessment, use of certified equipment, and following boarding and landing plan. Anchor in areas at a proper distance from pipeline to avoid its damage. Did I forget anything? Of course, a permit to work. Now, everything will definitely be according to plan. Reward and recognition. Safe work reward and recognition. Follow CPC Life Saving Rules and you will protect you and your colleagues' health, and you will be rewarded and recognized by the consortium. These are the 12 life-saving rules and their application areas. It is critical to study specifics of each type of work. Our work is inherently risky and hazardous. Please do not forget that. Now you are ready for sure.
Ready to proceed with the work.